Review, and the first thing that we're talking about in this unit is going to be what is a function. So this is why this is the best place for you to get back on track if you were off track for a little while, because this is something that you've been seeing for several years now. So a function relates an input to exactly one output. It's like a machine where you put a value in and most of the time a different value comes out. So I have this little graphic of a machine. The function is this expression that's in like the box. When we say we're going to review functions, this is what we mean by a function. So we're going to take some number and add 7 to it. That's the function, add 7. So if we put in a -2, so on like the little in arrow, I'm putting in a -2. What happens is now you do -2 plus 7, and what comes out is a +5. We're okay with that basic setup, right? So that's your machine. That's all we're reminding ourselves of today. If we have a function, we can plug values in and get a different value out. Now, before we do the next box, because this is such an easy review for a lot of you guys, you like to work ahead. So just to give you a bit of a preview, we're not doing example 2 and 3. So if you're going to work ahead, you can do that if you want to, but those aren't the ones that we're going to do. Okay, so the next little box is just a reminder of how you write a function. Remember that it can either say y equals or f of x equals. So the f stands for function. Of x means it's a function where you put numbers in for x. This just means that, well, it means the same thing, but it doesn't, for me, make as much sense. It's just a y equals. So here on the left-hand side, they give you some expressions, and they want us to write it as a function. So in this first little box here, we could write this as y equals 5x squared minus 2, or we could write it as f of x equals 5x squared minus 2. Then on the next one, 4 times 1.2 to the power of x, you can write that with a y equals, or you could also write the same thing with an f of x equals instead. So then this very last row, they just want you to take root x plus 5 and write it with a y equals and then an f of x equals, just to make sure that you know how you might see these functions. So write that in. I'll come around and verify that you did it when we start doing our first couple of problems. Got about 5. Okay, so here's mine. Even though this isn't what we're focused on today, pay a little bit of attention and make sure that you have like a little tail on your radical so that it's clear that x is the only thing in that radical. It's not like a huge deal, but it helps. Okay, so now let's get to the heart of the matter. Now that we reviewed what a function looks like, the basic idea of a function, and we know how it might be written, we're now going to plug values into our function and figure out what it equals. So when replacing a variable with a number, always use parentheses. This is our biggest task for the day. This is the one thing that we're going to make sure that we do for every single problem that we look at. We're going to use parentheses even if we don't think we need to. So I want you to, in your calculator, whatever one you're using, I want you to plug in 2 different things. So I want you to plug in negative 5 squared, and then I want you to plug in negative 5 in parentheses squared. So really plug those in, and I'm going to pull somebody's stick for you to tell me what you got. So you're really typing that into whatever calculator you use. You have like 30 seconds. So hopefully your Chromebook wakes up that fast. You got about 20. Ten. 5. 3. 2. Brianna learns at home. Brianna, hopefully you know this answer. Jermaine is never absent. He's not here. Tyler, what did you get for this negative 5 squared? Jonathan. Ashley, what did you get? Negative 25. Very good. So the bottom one then goes to Kaylee. Chase, what did you get? Thank you. 25. So I had you do this problem to illustrate to you parentheses really do matter. And if you leave them off when you need them, you're not going to get the right answer. So this is an example of why parentheses matter. They look like the same thing, but they'll give you different answers because of the parentheses. Okay, so now let's get into evaluating our first function. We have f of x equals 5x squared minus 2. And they say find f of negative 2. So what they're asking us to do is to take this negative 2 and put it where all of the x's are. So for this particular function, we're going to say f of negative 2 is equal to 5. Then use the parentheses times negative 2 squared. You put the parentheses around what you're plugging in only. So we plug in that negative 2 with parentheses around it, and then we subtract 2. So I like to use Desmos as my calculator if I'm not using an actual one. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to plug this in so that you can see what that looks like. So on my other screen, you should see it. I'm going to plug it in exactly like it is on my paper, the whole thing. I'm not going to do it in parts. So I'm going to say 5 parenthesis negative 2 parenthesis. And then for most of you, the power will be shift 6 squared minus 2. So this calculator is telling me that this goes to 18. This is 18. So when you plug these into your calculator, you are going to plug them in exactly as you see them. So this was 18. So I'm going to give you one now to try without me, and I am going to verify while you are doing that all y'all have a calculator so that nobody can make an excuse for not answering the questions. I want you to find f of 3. F of 3. Whatever calculator you are using, I need to see it out. just because your hands are on your keyboard doesn't mean you're doing anything. You're not doing that anymore in this class. It's true. There's a whole stack right there on the side of that table. Okay, so this is what you should have plugged into your calculator. What do we get? 43? Yep. Positive? Okay. This one I'm going to pick sticks. F of 0. So I have all your names right here on these sticks. So that's what we're doing for this one. I'll give you a little extra support by showing you how you plug it in. And everybody's name is a possibility. Got about 15. $10. 5. Okay, this one goes to Nayeli. -2, very good. Okay, so the next kind of problem that you'll see in your quiz, so you're going to see one like this, where they give you a function and then they tell you using an f of to evaluate it. The other kind that they are going to give you is a table. So this time your function is f of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 5. And then they're going to make a table. And they're going to say this column is x. And this column is f of x. And they're going to have you plug in some values. So the first one that we're going to try is -1. The first one that we're trying is -1. So I'm going to use the space over here to write out what that would look like. This would be parenthesis -1 squared. Remember, you always put parentheses around what you're plugging in. And what we're plugging in this time is this -1. Then we do the -6 parenthesis -1. And then finally a +5 on the end. So this is what you are plugging into your calculator. You're replacing all of the x's with -1. I like that so many of you guys are using your keyboard to figure this out. You got to hit buttons, not just roll around on your mouse pad, family. Hit the buttons. Okay, about 10. 5. Okay, I'm getting 12. How about you? Yep. Yeah? Okay, let's have you guys do 0. This time I will call a name. I will give you that extra bit of support by writing down what you would plug in on this one. But then after this, you got to do it on your own. You got about 20. Ten. 5. 3. 2. Okay, this time I got Misty. She learns at home.
I'm right here.
Oh, Misty, you came back. My bad, girl. 5. Thank you. Okay, this time you do it all on your own. Let's do 1. This time you're plugging in 1. I'm not going to write any of it down for you. I'm going to come around the mountain. Okay, about 10. Five, 3, 2. Okay, this one goes to Mario. Yep. You feel good about these ones, or you want to do one more? One more. Let's do 2. 2 will be our last one of these. Okay, roughly 10. About 5, 3. Okay, this time, that was Misty again. Noah, Ashley. Did I make you go twice? -3. Thank you for going twice. Good. Okay, so then there's one other kind of problem you're going to see. So I'm going to flip to the next page. And I'm going to write this in my 6 and 7s. You mad, bro? Good heavens. Just kidding. I'm going to write this in my 6 and 7 area. So here is a function, f of x equals -5x plus 3. And I'm going to write some statements down, and I want you to tell me if they're true or false. So the first one is that if you plug in a -1, you get +8. So you're checking this statement. Is it true or false? You got about 10. Five. 3. Okay, what you guys thinking? True or false? True. So here's what you would have plugged in. -5, parenthesis, -1 plus 3. Okay, next up, f of 0 is -2. So once again, you're deciding, is that true or false? Give you about 15, and then I'm going to pick sticks. Ten. 5. 3. 2. Okay, this one goes to Nayeli again. Say it one more time. False. She's right, it is false. This is what you would plug into your calculator. You would get 13. Why did I plug in a -2? Okay, teacher. So you would get +3. Okay, 2 more of these. F of 2 is 13. So you're deciding true or false. Okay, about 10. Three. Okay, this one goes to Sebastian. False. Agree. Okay, last one of these is f of 5 equals -22. So you're on this very bottom one. Okay, about 10. 5. 3. 2. Okay, this one goes to Jaden. So is it true? True. Thought we were partying. Why is everybody so quiet now? Okay, on number 4, so we have a handful more of these to do, just so that we can be exposed to all of the different kinds that we will see on the quiz. So this one looks a little bit different because now we have a number that we're multiplying into parentheses. And it's going to look weird when I plug this 4 in, but I'm still going to use parentheses. So how I personally would write this is 6, parenthesis, and then instead of that x, I'm going to plug in parenthesis 4. I know that that looks weird, but I always use parentheses. Then I'm going to do a -7, end the parentheses, plus 3. And then in my Desmos, when I plug that in, I'm doing the same exact thing. So he's actually this one right here. He's the middle one that you can see on my screen. I've plugged him in with parentheses, and I am getting a -15. So parentheses aren't absolutely necessary in that one, but it does help to make sure that you are getting the right answer. Okay, you try f of -3 now. So you try b. It's the same function. Let's write this one on your whiteboard. We're writing this one on your whiteboard. Let's go about 20. Roughly 10. Five. 3, 2. Okay, show me. -57, very good. So there's mine plugged in. Okay, number 5 is slightly different because you have 2 different functions. So they give you an f of x, but then they also give you g of x. So you just have to be careful about which one they're asking you to evaluate. So the first one is asking you to evaluate x cubed plus 9 because it's an f. So these two match. I'm going to show you how I would write this, and then I'm going to let you plug it in. So because all that I have first is an x, what I'm plugging in is parenthesis -2 cubed plus 9. So that's what we plug into our calculator. You guys do that and write it on your whiteboard. You got about 10. Five, 3, 2. Okay, show me. Okay, 1. Okay, now you find g of -3. So you switch over to the other function, make sure that you use your parentheses because that one's got a lot of business going on. You have roughly 10. Five, 3, 2. Okay, let's see. Hold it up for a minute so that I can see. Okay, this one should be negative 58. So I'll show you how I plugged mine in. And hopefully if you got something wrong, it'll help you see what. Okay, we got a couple more problems and then you'll start doing your quiz. So the last set are not in our workbook. I'm just going to go to the very bottom of my page and write them there. So f of x equals x cubed minus 2. I want you to find f of negative 2. So this is a whiteboard one. About 20. Ten. 5, 3, 2. Okay, show me. Negative 10 on this one. Okay, we're going to do one more set, but here's the deal. Some of you guys are getting these wrong and not even holding up a whiteboard, and then some of you guys are probably like, can we just be done now? Maybe creep on your neighbor a little bit and see how they're doing, because we should probably keep going till everybody's okay. So maybe help a brother out or something. Okay, next function is g of x equals 4 times 3x plus 2 minus 10. So he's a really long one. You are finding g of 0. I'm going to give you a little extra time so you can creep on your neighbor. We're still going like 30 seconds in the hopes we can get everybody to answer this time. $20. $10. $5. $3. $2. Okay, show me. Oh, look at all those whiteboards. See, how could I hate this job? -2, it's looking like. Is that true? Okay, I think we should do just one more. G of 4. Well, no, let's do G of -4. Oh, I'm frozen. We'll go with about 30. $10. About 5. $3. $2. Okay, show me. -50. Okay. At this point, distance learners, you are going to do quiz 2.1. And if you haven't taken your test yet, you need to take your test immediately. So distance learners, you're doing quiz 2.1 now. In class learner.